Welcome to Powered by Sleep, the show where science meets performance. Our show is hosted by Paul Muchowski, PhD, neuroscientist and founder of Defined Research. Each week, we talk with scientists, physicians, and creators about how sleep isn't just recovery, it's fuel for everything you do. Because when you define your nights, you transform your days.
Welcome to Powered by Sleep, the show where science meets performance. I'm Paul Muchowski, neuroscientist and founder of Defined Research. Each week, we talk with scientists, physicians, and creators about how sleep isn't just recovery, it's fuel for everything you do. Because when you define your nights, you transform your days. Hi everyone, this is Powered by Sleep, a podcast presented by Defined Research. Powered by Sleep is going to uncover all of the misconceptions about sleep to help you live and feel better. It'll be just me, Dr. Paul Muchowski, here today, since we're going to be laying down some of the foundations of sleep. There's some basics we need to know before we get deeper into how improving your sleep fuels almost every single aspect of your life. Today, we'll be talking about the stages of sleep, and we will learn about some of the most common sleep disorders. We'll also cover some personal examples from folks who have very common sleep issues. Sleep affects us all, and we're so excited to present a podcast that we feel will ultimately help you to learn how to sleep better. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about the stages of sleep. What are the different stages of sleep? A lot of people know about REM sleep, also known as rapid eye movement sleep, the stage of sleep where you dream, your heart rate rises, and your eyes dart around. But what a lot of folks don't know is what most of your sleep is what is called non-REM sleep. We'll do a general arc of each stage before diving into the significance of each stage. The first stage... Yeah. Yeah. No, I did. But I don't know. You're sitting there scrolling in there, like over my reading. So I'm not sure if you're. Yes, totally.
Okay. I'll just stay still then.
Yeah.
But you could still just redo that one.
Yeah. But also, I don't understand is like the intro. The overall intro to the show, I thought you were going to record that. There's two intros here. Okay, yeah. Can you record that one and just don't say that our host will be Paul Muchowski, and I just think it'll be cool if it's you and not me. Because if I'm already doing an intro, there's no point to do two intros here. I think one's an intro to the overall podcast and one's an intro to the show, right? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to start right at the beginning then of the hi, everyone. Okay. Do you want to check that at all just to make sure it's okay? Or?
What do you mean check that? It's rolling the recording. So
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Hiding again.
Hi, everyone. This is Powered by Sleep, a podcast presented by Defined Research. Powered by Sleep is going to uncover all of the misconceptions about sleep to help you live and feel better. It'll just be me, Dr. Paul Muchowski, today, since we're going to be laying down some of the foundations of sleep. There's some basics we need to know before we get deeper into how improving your sleep fuels almost every single aspect of your life. Today, we'll be talking about the stages of sleep, and we'll learn about some of the most common sleep disorders. We will also cover some personal examples from folks who have very common sleep issues. Sleep affects us all, and we're so excited to present a podcast that we feel will ultimately help you to learn how to sleep better. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about the stages of sleep. What are the different stages of sleep? A lot of people know about REM sleep, also known as rapid eye movement sleep. the stage of sleep where you dream, your heart rate rises, and your eyes dart around. But what a lot of folks don't know is that most of your sleep is actually what is called non-REM sleep. We'll do a general arc of each sleep stage before diving into the significance of each sleep stage. The first stage of non-REM stage of sleep is called N1. This is a transitional stage between wakefulness and sleep. Think about when your head first hits the pillow and you're truly starting to settle down. Your heartbeat, breathing, and eye movements start to slow down, and your muscles begin to relax. Some people feel this stage is similar to what you experience when you meditate. Next is N2. This is the stage that represents what is called light sleep. Your heart rate and breathing slow even further, your body temperature drops, and your brain waves slow down. Brain waves are the electrochemical signals produced by neurons when they fire. Different stages of mind are defined by characteristic waveforms, and our brains utilize a coherence of neuronal circuits firing to organize perception of the world around us. Next thing you know, you move into stage N3. This is the deepest and most restorative sleep stage, also known as slow wave sleep. Since your breathing, heart rate, muscle activity, and brain waves are the slowest at this stage, it is the hardest to wake from and is crucial for physical repair, tissue growth, and energy restoration. I cannot emphasize enough how important this sleep stage is for nearly every aspect of your physiology. We'll dig in more on this topic shortly. The product that Define Research created specifically focuses on boosting this sleep stage to ensure a good night's rest. Define Sleep maximizes restorative sleep to ensure ultimate recovery, leaving you waking up energized and refreshed. Finally, the stage you've probably heard before, rapid eye movement or REM sleep. In this stage, your eyes move rapidly behind your eyelids and brain activity increases to levels similar to wakefulness. Your breathing and heart rate increase and your body actually becomes temporarily paralyzed. We'll talk more about REM in just a moment, but REM too is a critical contributor to restorative sleep. We should view deep and REM sleep as two partners that are absolutely critical to restorative sleep. You cycle through these 4 stages multiple times each night, with each cycle lasting roughly 90 to 120 minutes. Most people go through 4 to 6 sleep cycles per night, and how much time you spend in each phase of sleep changes as the night goes along. Sometimes napping can feel super disorienting because you aren't timing it with your sleep cycles. Maybe you've woken up from a nap in the middle of non-REM sleep, groggy and with a small headache. But timing your naps with your sleep cycle can make you wake up a lot smoother. Okay, now that we know about the general stages of sleep, let's dive a little bit more deeply into the significance and importance of each stage. Your head hit the pillow and N1 ensues. It generally only lasts a few minutes. In this stage, motor movements tend to decrease, although you may experience a hypnic jerk, a sudden or involuntary muscle twitch that occurs as you begin to fall asleep. This actually happens to me a lot, especially when I take naps after a poor night of sleep. Brain waves continue to slow during N2 sleep. However, this stage is characterized by 2 types of brain activity, what are known by us nerdy science types as sleep spindles and K complexes. You might think that I'm just speaking neuroscience jargon, but they are actually important, so let's break it down. Sleep spindles are short bursts of brain activity that will last anywhere from 1/2 of a second to 3 seconds. They are essential for memory and learning, shutting out external stimulation and ensuring sound sleep. K complexes are simple sharp peaks in electrical activity followed by a negative dip. K complexes are essential high amplitude brain waves that occur during stage 2 sleep that protect sleep continuity and facilitate memory consolidation. Like sleep spindles, K complexes maintain sleep by blocking out outside distractions. but magically, they can also help you wake up if your brain picks up on something that might perceive a stimulus as dangerous. Our brains are endlessly fascinating. K-complexes contribute to memory consolidation, ensuring smooth brain functioning. Your hormone release, immune functioning, glucose metabolism, and memory are all regulated during stage 3 deep sleep. A lot of us know about REM sleep, but our deep sleep is incredibly important and what we want to underscore most in this episode. Most of your deep sleep is at the beginning of the night, and without enough deep sleep, it's very easy to wake up unrefreshed. One easy way to understand what deep sleep feels like is to think about this example. Have you ever had a night when maybe you took a red-eye flight and did not sleep, or maybe your dog woke up in the middle of the night, or perhaps you stayed up all night working on a school or work project? Whenever that happens, you lose a night of deep sleep, and your brain knows automatically that you need to rebound. So on the night after your terrible night of sleep, you always get more deep sleep. Speaking personally, after nights like that, on a subsequent night of sleep, I knock out so hard. In fact, I joke that it is this type of deep sleep where your mouth is open and you're drooling on the pillow. But all jokes aside, the reason your brain requires you to rebound and add more deep sleep is a strong testament to how evolution shaped deep sleep to play such an important role in physiology. Interestingly, deep sleep decreases across your lifespan. Young children obtain more deep sleep, and older adults typically receive less deep sleep. Non-REM sleep impacts every aspect of your life, and researchers have found that abnormalities in non-REM sleep may play a role in schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, epilepsy, autism spectrum disorder, and Parkinson's disease. Now, what happens when you don't sleep well? During non-REM sleep, people with insomnia actually display brain waves at frequencies that are similar to those while they are awake, with faster metabolism and heart rate, signaling they are unable to relax. Non-REM sleep also impacts physical restoration in the cardiovascular system. During N3, blood pressure drops, which may play a vital role in protecting your body against heart disease and stroke. Non-REM sleep also plays an important role in memory consolidation. During non-REM sleep, the brain optimizes mental pathways for learning and consolidates new memories and skills. Certain patterns during non-REM sleep are associated with stronger memory, motor recovery, and verbal fluency. Non-REM sleep plays a role in both types of memory, declarative and procedural. Declarative is the brain's ability to actively recall information, while procedural is a type of long-term implicit memory responsible for unconsciously performing motor and cognitive skills, such as riding a bike, typing, or driving. Slow-wave sleep is a recovery period after your brain's day of learning, ensuring proper functioning of both memory systems once you're awake. Now finally, we enter REM. REM sleep is critical for emotional health, learning, and memory consolidation. Most of your vivid dreaming also occurs in REM, explained by an uptick in brain activity, although it's also possible to dream in non-REM sleep. The composition of each cycle changes also as the night progresses, with longer periods of deep sleep occurring earlier in the night and longer periods of REM sleep occurring later in the night. You most likely won't enter REM sleep until at least 90 minutes into your sleep. We'll have a separate episode about substance use, but part of the reason that alcohol disrupts sleep so much is because you don't get REM sleep. You might pass out, but it disrupts normal sleep patterns and leads to fatigue and lack of focus the next day. But we'll talk more about all of that soon. Okay, we've laid the basics down of each stage of sleep, but now let's learn more about common sleep disorders and how so many people deal with these. There are many, many types of sleep disorders, and we don't have time to cover them all. Today we'll be focusing on insomnia, sleep apnea, and parasomnias. You most likely heard of insomnia or experienced it at some point in your life. Insomnia is the most common sleep disorder characterized by an inability to fall asleep, stay asleep, or both, even if your environment and time allow for adequate amounts of sleep. Your daytime behavioral changes must also be impaired in some form for you to get a proper diagnosis. Insomnia left untreated can lead to many issues. An estimated 40% of individuals with insomnia also have a comorbid psychiatric condition. The correlation between insomnia and even later development of depression within 1 to 3 years is relatively strong, not to mention increased risk of diabetes, substance and use disorders, and heart disease. Obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA, is the most common sleep disorder, where your body has repeated lapses of breathing while sleeping, as well as daytime consequences due to a lack of sufficient sleep. Common symptoms include loud chronic snoring, a dry or sore mouth upon waking, gasping throughout sleep, and excessive daytime sleepiness. Sleep apnea is often dismissed as just snoring, but it actually affects an estimated 30 million adults in the US alone. Sleep apnea is complex and caused from a variety of factors, both physical and genetic, preventing the body from maintaining continuous healthy breathing while sleeping. The amazing thing about OSA is that it is massively underdiagnosed. What is even worse is that a relatively high percentage of patients who are properly diagnosed with OSA choose not to treat it. Mainly because the current treatment is to use what's called a CPAP machine, continuous positive airway pressure machine. You know, that big breathing tube connected to a machine that sounds like Darth Vader when it's pumping? No wonder folks don't like to use it. The two most prevalent kinds of sleep apnea include obstructive sleep apnea and central sleep apnea. In obstructive sleep apnea, muscles at the back of your throat relax, reducing the amount of space for air to flow. Snoring ensues, a person can't get enough oxygen, and causes partial or total awakenings to restore proper airflow. In central sleep apnea, your brain doesn't communicate properly with the muscles responsible for breathing. Your brainstem doesn't recognize adequate amounts of carbon dioxide in the body, leading to short and shallow breaths, not giving your brain enough oxygen. One of my close friends eventually was diagnosed with sleep apnea. He went to the doctor in his 30s and complained that he always felt tired. His doctor quickly had him go to a sleep lab where they were able to diagnose OSA. Apnea is no joke. If you don't sleep well, everything else gets worse. OSA dramatically increases your risk of almost every major disease, including coronary heart disease, stroke, neurodegenerative diseases, the list goes on and on. The good news is that there is a lot of good research in this area, and recent clinical trials have shown a promising new drug combination that might effectively treat OSA without having to use the CPAP machine. Although not technically a sleep disorder, let's talk about what are called parasomnias, the undesirable experiences that occur as someone sleeps, falls asleep, or wakes up. Parasomnias are a category of sleep disorders characterized by undesirable physical, verbal, or experiential behaviors occurring while falling asleep, during sleep, or upon waking. Have you ever sleepwalked or woken up with your heart racing after a nightmare? These are all parasomnias, and most of us have experienced one at some point in our lives. In most cases, parasomnias are not harmful, but they are like intruders in our sleep, disturbing proper rest and the smooth functioning of our sleep cycles. Not all parasomnias have a clear cause, but sleep deprivation, stress, and various psychological and neurological disorders can all provoke parasomnias. Sleep is also highly disordered by substance use, which many people use to medicate and fall asleep. We won't get into it now, so be on the lookout for a future episode on the impacts of substance use and sleep. These are some of the many different types of sleep disorders. Most sleep disorders are caused by a combination of genetics, human behaviors, your environment, and your physical health. And as I always like to tell folks who are not sleeping well, please, please, please just talk to your doctor about the symptoms so you can get on a path to fixing your sleep problems. 70 million folks in the US alone have insomnia, so don't be afraid to talk to your doctor about this. Okay, as we approach the end of the episode, we'll do some reflections on some key takeaways. Sleep is composed of multiple stages, each of which contribute to the overall sleep quality and health. Deep and REM sleep are the two stages that are most critical for what is known as restorative sleep. Not getting enough of these sleep stages will wreak havoc on nearly every aspect of your mental and physical well-being. There are many different types of sleep disorders, but the most common are insomnia, sleep apnea, which is actually a form of insomnia, and parasomnias. Various treatments exist for each of these conditions, so don't be afraid to speak with your doctor if you feel you might suffer from one of these. We hope that this episode eliminated some misnomers about the different stages of sleep and helped you learn a little bit more about your own sleep patterns. We'll be back soon with an episode with our guest, Dr. Tuan Dang, to take a deep dive on daylight savings and how this nationwide phenomenon does a lot more to your brain and body than you think. So please stay tuned.
Thanks for listening to Powered by Sleep, brought to you by Defined Research. If today's conversation helped you rethink the power of rest, share the episode and subscribe wherever you listen. You can learn more at definedsleep.com and follow us at definedsleep for data, research, and updates from our studies. Until next time, rest smarter, live stronger.